It's the morning of day 6, and I'm just getting camp packed up and deciding how I want to get out of here. I didn't really have a clear route set out for this trip. I started out here on Hammer Lake and then came down University River through all those beaver dams. On day 1, camped on University Lake for 2 nights, came around University Lake, which is cut off from the map there, down the University River again, also called the Dog River, and then I camped on Obatanga Lake on that island there for the last 3 nights. And now I can either go back the same way, which would be kind of tedious and would do nothing to slake my thirst for adventure. And I know there are a lot of beaver dams. I'd have 7 to cover. There's 6 there, and then there's 1 in there somewhere. So I know I don't want to do that. So I guess I'm going to do the other way, which is Obatanga, continue down the University River into Knife Lake, and then take the Knife Creek up to the highway. And then from there I can either continue into this lake and get back to the highway, or I can just stop at the highway potentially, hopefully, and then walk all the way back to my car back on Hammer Lake, which is probably like a 2 to 3 hour walk. So today is probably going to be a pretty long day. Packed up camp and back on the water. It's about 9:45. And conditions are still glass out here. Yesterday was so windy. And I was supposed to have a tailwind today, but that's okay. Glass is fine. It's nicer to paddle on, really, than even a tailwind. More peaceful anyway. So at least if today's going to be a long, nasty day, hopefully at least the weather is going to cooperate. There's not a cloud in the sky. Got a fish on. The rod holder just twitched, and then I put a good stroke in and the rod bent back. So it's something okay. Not big, but nice to get a little action here. Oh yeah, it's a decent pike. Of course it's on the south end of the lake where I really didn't think the fishing would be as good. The deep water is all on the other end. Yet another fish on the large paddle tail. Whoa! Not big, but solid 5 pounds. Nice way to start the day. It's 5 pounds. Wet. So as soon as the lake turns into the river again, right where they meet, there's already a beaver dam. Probably the first of a lot today. So I'm paddling through this marsh, and I get to another beaver dam only a couple minutes later. And it just doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel like it's going the right way. And so I turn on my phone and turn on my GPS, and then use the Avenza Maps application to access the topographic map, which is geo-referenced, so you can see your GPS on the map. And I went over completely the wrong beaver dam just now. So I'm going to have to back out of here, which is going to be tricky, well, cumbersome, and head further south to where the river actually begins. So 2 bonus beaver dams already. This is the Avenza Maps app here. And it's great because you can download all kinds of maps, including Jeff's map, the Explore the Backcountry QETW map, lots of other ones for free, including all the Natural Resources Canada National Topographic System topo maps, which I have downloaded for all of my trips right now. So I'll click on Obatanga, and it told me that I was just going up that little creek there. Thankfully I checked, yeah, it just didn't feel right. So I went back out, I went back over that beaver dam now, and I'll head further south to where I'm actually supposed to go, down there. But super handy app, works offline, works really well. Working my way back to where I'm supposed to be, and there's actually a bit of just a slight headwind. But it's just weird because it's going the opposite direction that was forecasted. I'm starting to work up a little song about headwinds. It goes something like, headwind, always in my face, you are a headwind. I could turn straight around and somehow you'd still be a headwind. Forecast called for a tailwind, but the meteorologists are liars, you're a headwind. Just a start. So I'm at the Real River now, and this is apparently a fish sanctuary from March 15th to June 15th, which would make me hopeful because that would suggest that there are fish to be protected. I'm at the rapids that flow into Knife Lake, and this is where the first portage of the day is, apparently. Not sure if there are any more, but here goes number one. So the portage is like 20 meters, I think. If I'm actually at the end of the portage, I can't say for sure. But it just goes around this little kind of dammed up rapid. And then I think it ends here. And then it looks like those rapids there are just deep enough to run over, and if not, I'll just step out of the canoe. But hopefully this is it. It's just really overgrown in here, so it's hard to say if this is the trail or not, but hopefully. So it is too shallow and bony here to run it, but that's fine. I'm just going to wade through it, and in hindsight, I wish I had run through that section there. Then I could have avoided the portage altogether. Just drag your canoe down it, it'd be way easier. Actually, this might be runnable now. It was too shallow before. Let's see. Oh yeah. Sweet. That's better. A little scraping, but it's okay. It's shallow again here. And I have a feeling there is a portage trail that goes alongside all of this, but even if there is, A, it seems to be very overgrown, and B, I'd rather do this either way. Much easier. And I think it's deep enough to paddle again. Scrapes. Real bony. Trying to slow myself down here so I don't go crazy into one of these rocks. So I would just scratch that portage altogether and wade the whole thing. It's maybe 100, 150 meters of wading. Pretty easy. That's funny. There's the portage sign. It's on the other side of the river. So I guess where I got into the river, the portage actually crossed the river? I don't know. That is confusing. At the bottom of the rapids there's a little bay and it drops down to about 25 feet. So definitely a spot I'm gonna try fishing for a bit. I'm at the northeast end of Knife Lake now and just reaching Knife Creek. And this is where the adventure begins. I know you can get back to the highway at Knife Creek, but I have no idea what it entails. Everything's been pretty easy up to this point. I did that beaver dam that I didn't have to and then went back over it. And did a mini portage around the rapids that I could have lifted over. But aside from that, it's been quite an easy day. It's not looking good so far. It's extremely shallow. I'm just driving myself along here. And this is where the lake turns into the creek, so I have to get out. Thankfully the main creek channel was just like, I don't know, 15 meters this way, but I couldn't see it through all the reeds. Still not too deep, and there's a small beaver dam right ahead, so I might just keep dragging along the side, around the beaver dam. Here's the dam. Not far along there's a log jam. It looks like more than a beaver dam. So hopefully I can lift over this easily enough. Now, balancing act along this log. And back in. Push off. Oh, that's just awkward. This isn't good. I have a long way to go on this creek. I would say, I don't know, good 6 or more kilometers. And this is only the start. I'm a bit concerned. Once you get past the beaver dam, you come to a fork and you can go right or left, as is the case with all forks. And you definitely want to go right here to stay on Knife Creek. Left is some other little body of water, little water course I mean. There was another beaver dam, but it had been either washed out or cleared out. And then there's another one, very small and easy to lift over, so this one's not bad. Another small one and another easy lift over. Another one. Another one. Another easy leftover though. Another obstruction, rapids this time. And I presume I'll just be dragging the canoe up that. So the viability of dragging it up that rapid section disappeared. I started, and then as you go on, it's clear that it's just not possible. But there is a section on the right here, which I figured was probably a portage, and it turns out it is. I really don't understand the sign placement on this route. I would put that sign on this tree. Anyway, now I gotta scramble up this bank and do this portage. Okay, this makes more sense now. I don't know who put these up or put them up again, but I guess it fell off. And someone just found this, which was a substitute for a nail. Alright. Good news is the portage is only about 150 meters and quite clear. Another obstruction and another portage. I can see the sign there, and that's also a campsite there on the right. There's a sign for it too. It's kind of a nice campsite. Nice open space beside the creek. Certainly not going to find any motorboats here or many people. Another one. Hey, is that a beaver dam? Cool. This is a pretty important juncture here. You come from there, and if you go to the right, you end up in some beaver ponds. It goes a long way, so you can waste a lot of time there. And if you go left, you'll stay on Knife Creek, which is what I want to do. Well, have to do. I'm just documenting them at this point to be able to count them later and tally up how many there were. Got a couple leeches out of that one as a bonus. I love these beaver dams. And look at the bottom of my sandal for bonus fun out of these beaver dams. I'm guessing these are baby leeches or something, I don't know. But my shoe's crawling with them. On that note, I have never seen more leeches anywhere than on Obatanga. Just tons of them just swimming around. Not even getting eaten by fish, apparently. We'll go to these fish. We need some bass up here. Moose just startled me around the corner. Big cow. And she's gone, yeah. No sign of her. Oh well. Another one. Getting close to the highway now. I'm back at the highway. Knife Creek took 4.5 hours. And now the fun part. I'm going to walk 2 to 3 hours north along the highway back to my car. Left my canoe behind some tall grass. Hopefully it'll be safe there for a couple hours and no one will mess with it, because it's a few grand worth of stuff lying there. I can't even call to try and arrange a shuttle or anything, because Bell has no signal basically anywhere north of Sault Ste. Marie except for right in the towns. Bugs me that I'm paying for service on the Trans-Canada and can't get a signal. So to sum up Obatanga, if you like copious amounts of beaver dams, leeches, average scenery, and at best average fishing, then Obatanga is the destination for you. The one thing Obatanga did have was wildlife. Very fertile area. Saw that big bull moose early on, and then that big cow today. Lots of eagles and just other smaller, less notable wildlife, waterfowl and such. And there are 4 things I really look for in a trip, and that's scenery, fishing, wildlife, and something else. What is it? Oh, and seclusion. And yeah, Obatanga just notched the one there. One, wildlife. Not secluded at all. You can hear the highway from Obatanga Lake. And the other 2, all 3 lakes, including Knife and University, I heard or saw motorboats on them. 1 on University, 2 on Obatanga, and 1 on Knife. So I can get to lakes like that with a lot less effort, and that's what I would do in the future. If I'm going to put in the effort, like getting over all those beaver dams and such, doing the portages, I want it to be remote. I was toting my pack along the dusty Winnemucca Road when along came a semi with a high and canvas covered load. If you're going to Winnemucca Mac with me, you can ride. So then I climbed up to the cabin and I settled down inside. He asked me if I'd seen a road with so much dust and sand, and I said, listen, I've traveled every road in this here land. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the deserts bare, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. Travel, I've had my share, man. I've been everywhere. Chicago, Fargo, Minnesota, Buffalo, Toronto, Winslow, Sarasota, Wichita, Tulsa, Ottawa, Oklahoma, Tampa, Padua, Mattawa, Lapaloma, Bangor, Baltimore, Salvador, Amarillo, Tocopilla, Painkiller, Apadilla, I'm a killer, I've been everywhere, man. I've been to Boston, Charleston, Dayton, Louisiana, Washington, Houston, Kingston, Texarkana, Monterey, Faraday, Santa Fe, Tallapooza, Glen Rock, Black Rock, Little Rock, Oskaloosa, Tennessee to Tennessee, Chicopee, Spirit Lake, Grand Lake, Devil's Lake, Crater Lake, for Pete's sake, I've been everywhere. I've thought about trying to thumb a ride, but A, I don't really trust random strangers. B, I don't really like asking for help unless I have to. And C, I don't want to do that to anyone. I'm sweaty and gross. And these clothes have been worn far too long on this trip. I've done some laundry, you know, like backcountry laundry, but these things need a wash. It might have to be burned. Been to Louisville, Nashville, Knoxville, Ombabika, Shefferville, Jacksonville, Waterville, Costa Rica, Pittsfield, Springfield, Bakersfield, Davenport, Shreveport, Hackensack, Cadillac, Fond du Lac, Davenport, Idaho, Jellicoe, Argentina, Diamantina, Pasadena, Catalina, see what I mean? You knocked my hat off. Parkersburg, Gravelburg, Colorado, Ellensburg, Rexburg, Vicksburg, El Dorado, Blair, Morat, Haverstraw, Chattanooga, Chaska, Nebraska, Alaska, Opelika, Baraboo, Waterloo, Kalamazoo, Kansas City, Sioux City, Cedar City, Dodge City, what a pity. I've been everywhere. Well, it's been an hour and I'm about 2/3 of the way, so that's great. It's not as far as I thought. Or these stilts that hold up my lanky frame. frame, you know, they can move, so maybe I'm just faster than I think. I'm also used to estimating distance for walking based on portages and hikes, so I guess it takes a lot less time when you're on flat terrain. I've made the decision, kind of a difficult one, to pack it in for this trip. I'm gonna head home tonight. It's I think a 10-hour drive, so I'll probably see how far I get, take a nap, and then finish the ride around sunrise. It's hard to stop when I'm doing what I love, but my body is spent. It needs a break. My mind needs a break in terms of sleep. I need to get a good night's sleep where I don't wake up, you know, half a dozen times or more in the night because of loud noises or just usually just discomfort. Have to switch sides, roll over. So I need a good sleep. I need running water, toilet, sink, and shower, laundry, and I need good food. So pack it in and restart in August. It's been a great 28 days and tons of memorable moments. The Steel River, as much as I struggled with it and hated it sometimes, it'll be the most memorable of the trips. The other ones were a lot shorter, obviously. Naganosh was 4 days, Caribou Lake 4 days, Steel River 12, Obatanga 6. So it's going to be fun going through all the footage, looking back on those moments, and enjoying the comforts of civilization for a while. It's going to feel good. What a beautiful sight that is. It's the sign for the lodge. You're on Hammer Lake. Now I can get into a car and drive on the highway instead of walking alongside it while gawkers ogle me with their eyes. Oh, what's that young man doing at the side of the road? Bob, do you think he's okay? Yes, Margaret, he's fine. He's a grown man. Anyway, this walk only took about an hour and a half, maybe a little more, which is so much better than the 2 to 3 hours I thought, so I'm pleased. I need to race to Wawa, see the wild goose there, giant goose, and eat a giant meal. This is another of my classic days of just eating snacks throughout a massive day, no meals, all with the knowledge that I'll be able to stuff my face later in the day. Road again, I just can't wait to get back on the road again. No, don't worry, no more songs. Back at it, just gotta race back to the gear, and hopefully no one has messed with it. Moment of truth. Is the gear here? Is it untouched? I see the canoe. And I see my gear. Fantastic. Well, shockingly, there's no burger joint in Wawa. There's a chip stand, but it's closed now. And well, there are teenagers back there making out in front of the Value Mart, where I was going to like at least get some chips or something to tide me over. So that's disappointing. There's like nothing I can eat here right now. Settled on a chocolate milkshake at Max, and they also sell Ariba corn chips, and they are the best, probably the best corn chips there are. They're made by Old Dutch. And I got nacho and jalapeno and cheddar, which I've never even seen before, so worked out okay. There she is, an Ontario icon, wild goose. On my drive home, I get the pleasure of driving through Lake Superior Provincial Park right around sunset, and I'm in Old Woman Bay right now. Some beautiful cliffs getting hit by the sun over there, And the sun dropping like a rock over there. Waiting for my McDoubles here, and these guys in big trucks. They don't really know how the two line system works. You're supposed to zipper. Could get out, tell them how it works, but I don't feel like making my evening unpleasant. Trying to enjoy my McDoubles here and another chocolate milk. Is that so much to ask? Got 7.5 hours more driving. It's after 11, and I'll probably take a nap somewhere. Ugh. Oh, that was a heck of a 24 hours. This time yesterday I was packing up camp and then paddled down from Obatanga, down the University River, across Knife Lake, up Knife Creek, 4.5 hours, hour and a half hike back to the car, drove back to the car, packed up, then 12 hours later in the car, I'm home. About 4,000 calories later too. I had 2 milkshakes, chocolate milk, 4 patties at McDonald's, 2 bags of chips, and I'm greasier than a door hinge right now, so I'm gonna have a shower, sleep, and with that I will say goodbye.